Hello again, everyone. This is Sam Cox with a demonstration today on how to create an assignment in your PowerTeacher Pro Gradebook for a formative or benchmark assessment. Again, I'm working with a sample gradebook. Thank you, Mrs. Stewart from Lincoln Elementary School. Here I am on the Powerschool landing page. I want to access my gradebook. Today I'm going to be creating a formative assessment in math. Again, I can access my gradebook through any of these portals. I tend to just start here up on the top one. However, I always want to make sure when I do get into the gradebook that I'm working in the correct subject area. So today I told you I'm going to be creating a math formative assessment. So I'm going to make sure I change that to math. And as always, I double check that I'm working in the correct quarter. Again, my sample gradebook doesn't have quarters, but you should on your live site. Here's the assignments that I already have in math for this quarter. You can see that I already have a couple of formatives in there, and I even have a benchmark. But I'm going to be working with NBT A01 again today, and I'm going to be entering data on our second formative for that particular standard. I go up here to the top of the screen to the Create button, and I'm going to create an assignment. As always, I have these 4 tabs I need to remember to pay attention to. Starting with the Assignment tab, double check that I'm in math. That's correct. Give it an assignment name. So we're going to be working on NBT A01, and this is going to be formative number 2. What category am I in? Well, I'm working in a standards-based subject, and I'm working on an assessment, so I'm going to enter this in standard assessments. I'm going to keep this at points. Now, because our formative assessments are 5 questions, the total number of points possible for a student is 5 points. Okay, they're going to score either a 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, or a 5. I'm going to consider this one of the pieces of data that might be counted in their final grade, remembering that our standards grades, final quarter grades, are calculated using the 3 most recent scores. And the due date is going to be on, I'll say, Friday the 30th. Before I save and close, I need to come up here to Students. Again, choose which students you're giving the assignment to. I'm going to go ahead and give this assignment to all of my students. You may, on a formative number 2, not be giving it to all of your students. So you could deselect some of your students that might not be taking that second formative because they may have already scored a 4 or a 5 on their first formative. I'm going to come over to Standards. Again, remember we have to add or edit standards. We're working in NBT A01, so I'll choose that standard. When I show select standards, I want to auto-calculate that score, and I'm going to have it count in the grade. Publish. I'm going to go ahead and let it publish immediately. Now I'm going to save and close. And since I'm ready to score that assignment, I'll go ahead and click that button right up there. This takes me to the score sheet for that assignment, making sure I'm working in formative number 2. Now remember I told you that you're going to be entering the student's scores on a formative assessment. There's 5 questions, either on the multiple choice or the constructed response. You have a total of 5 questions on our Beyond Textbook formative assessments. So I'm going to start entering some scores, and you'll see that after I enter the score, their rubric score auto-populates. It's not going to match the number that they got correct because it's scoring them on a 1 to 4 scale. So we'll just quickly enter a few scores. You can always manually override over here if you need to. Notice that a score of 5 on the formative assessment gave the student a 4 on their standard. If they scored a 4, if they got 4 correct on the assessment, they're showing that they're proficient. If they're scoring a 2 or a 3, they're scoring that they're approaching. If they score a 0 or a 1, they're minimally proficient. Okay, so we automatically have that calculated based on the 0 to 5 score. So you can always enter those 0 to 5 scores when you're inputting formatives in either reading or math. I always want to make sure I save my score. Now I like to go over to grading and check my score sheet and just make sure that this most recent formative showed up. And there it is. Okay, so I had an assignment and I have formative number, here's my assignment. Here's formative number 1. I'm sorry, I'm confusing that again. Here's my assignment. Here's my formative number 1, and there's my formative number 2. Again, I can check my class-wide progress. Click on the progress bar, come to standards, and again, we're working in NBT 01. I can see that at this point in time, after 3 assignments, I have 4 students that have showed they're proficient on that standard and 5 students that have showed that they are not proficient. Again, I can click on that box and it'll show me which students are showing they're proficient and which are not yet proficient. Okay, so that's how to enter a formative score. You can do the same thing when you're entering benchmark data. And this is when we're entering data based on our paper and pencil beyond textbook assessments. As always, if you have any questions, please email me at sam.cox@deltaschools.com. And like I mentioned in my last video, I'm sure there are other gradebook experts at your school that you can lean on for assistance as well. Thank you very much.